What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Shooting the Shit Uncensored. It is me, your host, the bald, the beard, the beautiful Piers Austin, and we are brought to you live, baby, by the MWA Podcast Network. And tonight, my guest is the Latina ref, Layne Rosario, and I am super pumped to be talking to her tonight or this morning, wherever you're watching us, wherever you're tuning in from. We're glad you're here. But before we get into tonight's show, I'm going to take a quick pause for the cause to thank some sponsors. First up, we got healthvape.com. Now, Health Vape sell healthy vaping alternatives. All products are no nicotine, no harmful or addictive chemicals, and they are vitamin infused. So make sure to pick up some of their amazing vape and pod products today using promo code MWAPOD for a 10% discount. You know, I'm an ex-smoker. I just quit about 12 months ago. I'm a vapor now, and this is going to be my road to stopping vaping and stopping everything altogether. I've got some of these amazing products on the way, so make sure you head to healthvape.com. Use promo code MWAPOD at checkout to get 10% off. Next up is sleeves.com. Now, let me tell you something about sleeves.com. They offer great quality products from arm sleeves, knee sleeves, headbands, tights, joggers, socks, compression pants, compression shorts, compression socks. I'm old as fuck, and I need to wear my compression gear when I go training. Otherwise, I feel like shit for days afterwards. And these guys even have dirty boxes. That's right. I've got a pair on right now. They are super comfortable. They're absolutely amazing fit. They're made of the best materials. You need to check out these today. If you are an athlete or anyone you know is an athlete, you need to check out sleeves.com. Use promo code MWAPOD to get a 10% discount on your final purchase, baby. And we got Joel Southgate in the crowd. Thank you very much for tuning in. Much appreciated, brother. And guys, I just want to take a quick second. Let me get rid of this sleeves.com for a second. Guys, we have some amazing shows on the MWA Podcast Network. Tomorrow morning, or I should say earlier in the morning, at 10 a.m. Australian time, which will be 8 p.m. USA Eastern, we are going to have Angel Show Killing the Business. Now, Angel Medina, former ECW original. And if you know Angel, you've seen his show, you know that motherfucker doesn't hold back. Seriously, I have to be sitting there sometimes, be ready to put the mute button on whenever he's about to talk, because I don't know what he's going to say. I can't control him, people. So make sure you tune in. You do not want to miss Killing the Business. A lot of crazy shit's been happening in the world of wrestling, and Angel's going to break it down for you like he does every single week. But guys, while you're at it, the following day, it's going to be Nights of the Gimmick Table. My boys, the Dead Presidents, Boogaloo and Lowrider, they're bringing on their friends that they've gone up and down the road with for over 20 years. They're telling hilarious stories. They're going into details, reminiscing, and it's an amazing watch. It's an amazing listen. So make sure you check it out. And guys, I can't forget about my dear friend, Kiwi Alan Funk, former WCW star, with his show Get Funked, which airs every Thursday at 8 p.m. USA East, 7 p.m. USA Eastern, my apologies, which is 9 a.m. Friday in Australian time. So you make sure you check it out, guys. We have some amazing shows. You've even got my show, Shooting the Shit Uncensored, where I go live multiple times per week with amazing guests from around the world in pro wrestling. This month in June, I have really dedicated to the women in professional wrestling and the women who have contributed to the world of professional wrestling. We've had some amazing guests, and my guest tonight is equally amazing, and I'm going to bring her out right now. Layne, thank you for joining Shooting the Shit.
Well, thank you for having me. Good evening, good morning, salutations wherever you guys are. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm really excited to be talking with you tonight. You know, I've been, looking into your career for a little bit now, and you've really had an amazing journey in the world of pro wrestling, from manager to valet to referee. Was pro wrestling always something that you wanted to be involved in? Was it something that was, that you were involved in when you were younger, growing up? Were you constantly in front of the TV watching it?
So, funny story. My dad wanted a son. Always wanted a son. I'm his oldest. So at the age of 5, he, instead of getting a son, I'll backtrack, he got a daughter. So at age 5, we sat in front of the TV and I was instantly hooked. I saw women like Sherry Martel and Luna Vachon, these big, bold, brash personalities. And I was just like, ooh, I want to be like them. They're awesome. So ever since then, I became hooked on it, watching it with him. It was our favorite thing. We would go to live events when they were at Madison Square Garden or Nassau Coliseum. I grew up in Queens, so those were the two big event centers for us.
Pretty amazing venues to be living close by to, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So did you know, like, early on, like when you were little, that you were like, yeah, I got to be involved in this somehow when I'm older? Like, how do I get involved?
I didn't, because I was such a bookworm, like nerd. I would love to write. Like, it wasn't a thing that I knew I wanted to do, but I had friends who were doing it. That's how I got into it. They were doing more like the underground or indie wrestling. And I started hanging out with them, going to independent shows. And then I was like, ooh, I could do this. I'm 5 foot tall. I mean, nobody's like me. I'm little and tiny, and this is going to be a fun journey. I said, once I stepped in the ring, I was hooked. I was like, this is done. This is a wrap. This is going to be my life.
When did you step in the ring and start training?
I believe I was roughly about 17, 18, but I had been helping out with ring crew at the Queen's Elks Lodge for a few years and then stepped into the ring. I call myself actually a student of professional wrestling because I don't have one set trainer, or at least I didn't when I first started. It was, I picked up pieces and bits from everybody that I was around and different trainers and things like that.
And when you broke into the business, was your dad like sitting there going, this is awesome? Like, was he a big fan and supporter of it?
Yes. And funny story, because I'm a storyteller.
Yeah, please.
He once came to a booking that I had in New Jersey, and there was a guy who would basically hung me from behind his neck with like a rope noose. I'm holding it. So I'm like, okay, I'm not choking. I came back from that. I told him about it and everything. I warned him and I said, hey, this is what's going to go on. Here we are. I go back downstairs. This is when texting was just becoming a thing. I had
like early 2000s.
I had 40 missed text messages. You okay? You okay? And I was like, how could I answer these? I'm in the ring. Like, but he was such a big fan and such a big supporter. About a year ago now, he unfortunately passed away. But
I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you. In his belongings, there's actually a shirt that basically reads, I'm the proud father of a professional wrestler. So I have that with me. I was just like, wow, he really was proud. And this is a cool thing.
That's that's a really cool, you should get that framed. That's like a really cool little gesture, you know? So, you know, like breaking into the world of wrestling though, and doing it so young, you know, like how was the world of wrestling back then when you broke in? Because, you know, wrestling has always been a very male dominated sport for years. And that mold has probably been broken over the last 10 to 15 years where women have really sort of been able to take the main stage. But what was it like for you when you first started?
I make the joke all the time and say I was raised in this business by a pack of men. Somebody you're very familiar with was around for a lot of my growth in this industry as far as a female. Oh, I miss you too, Loretta. But there was one woman that was with me throughout my journey, and that was Foxy.
Oh, wow.
She was and is and will always be, me and her are the Trish and Lita of our generation, because that's just, we rode together, we still ride together in life, but she was a lot of there for a lot of it. So for me, it was, I had my one female BFF, and then I was raised by a pack of dudes. That's probably why I'm such a guy's girl, because back then there was females, but there weren't a lot as there is now.
Oh, 100%. Like I remember, you know, back in the day going to local shows here in Australia, and like I'm talking like 2000, 2001, and it was like there would maybe be one woman on the card, and she would be like a heater or like a manager, and then there'd be another one who'd be a valet in a different match, and that would probably be the most that you would see. And sometimes you'd only have like one woman on the card sometimes that I'd see. So, and now it's a completely different kettle of fish.
Yeah, we tried to, when we were working a lot together, be managing against each other so that we could have that interaction with each other, and we could, hey, there's these two strong females on this, card. Let's do something with them, even if it was something small like a cat fight, or get them involved with each other in some way, shape, or form, because we were always there together. So I feel like for us, that was something that we tried to instill on that, not to sound older or anything, but that generation of things, to try to get women at least a little bit more out there than they had previously been. But to see the change in how women's wrestling is now, where we have all women's pay-per-views and we're such a big role in the industry, is mind-blowing to me. It makes me very proud of the evolution of women. Not to, use the term evolution, but
no. But that's the thing. Like, I find that, with that as well, the women that were involved from years prior, they all played a part into getting it to where it is now. And I think, that a lot of it is, there was always, obviously the talent has evolved, but there was always talented females involved in wrestling. And sometimes I think it was like how society was, like the Jerry Springer sort of like time frame in that period, which was very much like women's role in wrestling is, the sort of the blue type matches, you know what I'm saying? Like, the stripping down matches, or the sort of, they were always considered for the longest time the sort of the beer break sort of match. Whereas, now, even on the independent level, you're seeing such amazing quality.
It's so heartwarming to see that, to be honest with you, and see that women are being taken seriously as the guys in this industry, because this should have been a long time coming, but the fact that it's here now and it's been for a while is just amazing to me. There's so many amazing talents out there in the higher companies, and even on the independent circuit, there's so many. And what I love the most is that there's so many different types of women. It's not just, hey, here, you're blonde and 100 pounds. This is what our stereotypical cookie cutter looks like. No, you have the thick girls, the skinny girls, the muscular ones, the every type, to be honest with you. So it's like a different flavor for everybody, because you have all these different body types and these different looks of females. Height. I mean, come on, look at me. I'm a 5 foot tall, thick girl. I mean, never in my dreams growing up did I ever think, oh, this company would want to look at me. I'd ever be on TV, because growing up in a lot of those, like you said, the B matches and things like that, it was a lot of the bra and panties. And these girls were like fitness models and like blonde hair, blue eyed. And here I am. I'm like, hey, I'm a short Costa Rican. Hey, here I am.
But even then, like, some of them didn't even really have a passion for the business. As you said, the fitness model, going into it to make a quick buck. And you kind of saw that as a fan watching a lot of the time. It's like, this is just not good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that was the sort of time. But again, like, they still contributed to a point in that time to get it to where it is now. But one thing I want to know, when did you go from being like manager, valet to referee?
So there were some steps in between all of that. So when I first started, it was managing and valeting. So this way I got, some experience doing things like that. And then I laced up a pair of boots myself and decided to be a wrestler. So I had an evolution as far as that. So I went from being Cherry Delicious, the valet, the manager. Yes, I understand that name sounds like it should be in an X-rated movie. I get it. Me and
Coming
Foxy
to the stage, Cherry Delicious.
Then it changed to Cherry Layne, because I'm like, hey, I want to be taken a little bit more serious as a wrestler. And then through a collaborative effort, we came up with the Derby Doll, which was a roller derby themed character. I went to a roller derby bout. I actually tried out, decided, hey, it was either this or pro wrestling. So I was like, nobody else is doing this. I might as well bring it to professional wrestling with me. And I loved it. I came out with a pair of skates, tried to use them in matches. And it wasn't until I venture to say August, September of 2019, I was offered an opportunity. Hey, you want to ref on this show? And, I think refereeing would be a good option for you, from, some people that I was talking to. And it was like the moment that I say it all the time, the moment I found my stripes is the moment that I found myself in professional wrestling, because I found the confidence that I probably have always needed in it. So now I'm like, ooh, I should have did this years ago, because I love it. I love it so much more. I mean, come on. I'm half Puerto Rican, and Puerto Rican women are strong, and they will tell you where to go with yourselves. So I'm like, oh, this is perfect for me. And I don't have to be the full on center of attention like the workers in the ring, because for some reason, I loved being a wrestler. I loved it, but I never felt comfortable in it. Like I never had the confidence in myself. And that's a lot on me. But it was like put the stripes on, and I was just like, ding, like the light bulb went off. Like,
Did you feel like you could put on good matches though as a wrestler, or was it like you felt like your confidence was low that you just thought like your matches were bad, or was it where was the confidence breakdown for you?
in between, it was in between both, to be honest. It was, I knew if my confidence was there, I could do better than what I was doing. And when my confidence was on, dude, it was on like Donkey Kong on. But like when it was off, I could tell it was off, and I just, and I take full responsibility for that. But you evolve as a person and you grow from it. So right as the time as I was ending, it's funny, I found my aha at a Mick Foley seminar here in Orlando. And that's when the click went off. And I was like, I got this. The Derby doll is awesome. I can do it in the ring. I found my confidence at that point. And funny enough, like I said, not even a year later, I decided, to shift correct and say, hey, I'm going to try being a referee.
I feel like the Derby doll character would have been like an instant baby face with like the crowd.
It actually went the opposite. It was more, everybody was booking it as a heel, which
really,
yeah, I wanted to do more baby face with it.
Because I would think like young kids in the crowd would be like really hyped by it because it's something different coming out on the roller skates.
Yeah, but a lot of people like in shows booked it as a heel, like they wanted me to use my skates to try to hit people with or to be mean. And I'm just like, okay, because as a heel, I don't know, a lot of people say this, but like for me, it felt natural because I am not a bubbly, hi guys type of person. So even when I was babyface, it was kind of like the darker-ish babyface, which I feel like kids would have still gotten behind because
100%.
Yeah, and mom and dad, I want skates. I want to be like her. Did it? You know what I mean? So there could have been some avenues with that.
Yeah, I definitely think so. And as far as like refereeing, like what do you think makes a good referee?
The attention to detail and being a big part of the match without actually being a big part of the match, if that makes sense. Like being invisible but there at the same time. Yeah, that's what I would say would make a good referee. And then knowing your rules, knowing what to enforce, when to enforce it, and things like that is an amazing thing to know because the rules are always changing. So I'll put it to you this way. The confidence I didn't have is what makes a good referee. So that's how I feel like I've grown from it, because you have to be confident. You're authority.
And it's funny you said that. Is like, as far as, and I wanted to ask, like, as far as referees go, like I've always thought a good referee will majority of the times go unnoticed unless there's a specific spot in the match where the referee is involved. And I see, Aubrey Edwards over in AEW, and I kind of feel like, I think she's a great referee, but I think at times she steals the spotlight from the performers in the ring, if that makes sense. Like, what's your thoughts on that? Like, do you think that referees can play a bigger part in the showmanship of it?
I think it depends on the platform, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's, for me, I like to be the one that's invisible, but not invisible. Like you were saying, when I'm needed to be there for something, I'm there. But otherwise, the attention, I want it to be on them. But if in AEW, like for her platform, it works for her.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean? I'm not saying that works for everybody, but for her, I feel like she's a different breed and a different entity where that works for her. That made her style vastly different than other referees, not even just females, just others in general.
Oh, 100%. And, like, did you like getting into, the refereeing side of things, like, how long did it take you to pick up being a ref? Or is it something you just sort of had naturally was able to pick it up, or did it take time for you to really develop a skill? Because being a referee is, like I said, it's a major part of any wrestling match.
I feel as though I'm still growing with it. I've only been doing it basically full time for about a year and a half-ish. Pandemic withstanding on that, because that took away I do a lot of my work and learn. I call it OJT, on the job training. So I learn by working shows in front of crowds and studying a lot. So that's where, for me, I'm still growing and learning from it. But it's very different from being a wrestler to being a referee, because your roles are completely back. You know what I mean? It changes it, and it's backward and things like that. But it was something that I'm still growing into. I'm still evolving. I feel like you never finish growing and evolving, and I learn new things all the time. But it's been a fun journey on that one. I'm like, oh, this is what I do here, and this is what I do there. I get excited to be in the ring.
Yeah. And and that's the thing, to still have that excitement over doing vast amount of roles in wrestling. It's really good to see that you've still got that passion for it. But do you still watch wrestling and can still sit there and watch it as a fan, or do you break it down in your head while you're watching it?
I watch it as a fan. I try to still watch it as a fan, but then I'll go back to certain matches and then dissect it as a referee, if that makes sense. Like, I'll go back to a match a second time and say, hey, so they did this here, they did that there. I still try to keep a little bit of the fan eye when I watch it, because I genuinely love this industry. And, my dog does too, because he wants to make a guest appearance because of our neighbors. But it's, I still watch it as a fan. Like, I still watch NXT every Wednesday. And then I'll go back to Peacock the next day and be like, okay, so now I'm going to go back and watch the referees and see what they're doing.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I think that's how you learn, by looking at people at that level, and seeing what they're doing and the nuances of it as well, and paying that attention to it. But as far as where you're at, you mentioned to me earlier that you've been able to have and to go and do a tryout. What was that experience like for you?
Life-changing. Because in my younger years, if you would have told me that I was ever going to have a tryout, I would have been like, you are nuts. You need to have your head examined. This is not going to be something that I'll ever do. Because like I said to you previously, I wasn't confident. I was like, they're never going to like me. And then when I got the email for my tryout, I was like, wait a minute. I cried. I'll be completely transparent. I cried. I opened my email at 7:00 in the morning and I saw that email and I cried. It was the hardest and most rewarding 3 days of my life ever.
What did they have you do? What did they have you do at the tryout?
It was different physical things in the ring, like bumps, rolls, a crap ton of squats, push-ups, and different things within the gym, because we got to work out with the strength and conditioning coaches, promos. And I didn't think going in that I would have to do a promo as a referee. And I was just like, well, I'm a talker. So if they ask me to do a promo, I got this. so that was fun too. So like, it was a lot of physical activity for 3 days straight, from 9 a.m. to about 5 p.m.
Wow. And you know what? Like, I think people don't understand like the physical aspect of it. Like, training that hard and putting yourself through that much, endurance from 9 till 5 is like, there is very, very few people in the world that can do that, for that long a time. Like, I take my hat off to you.
Thank you. I consider myself the Rudy. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Rudy.
No.
It's a football movie where the guy's like an underdog. Nobody really thinks he can make the football team. I considered myself, and I even wrote it as my post after the tryout, is like, I quoted him, but I changed the quotes a little bit, that this was a 5'0" non-athletic woman who went in there and held her own against some of the best athletes in the world, not even just the United States, in the country, but in the world. And I left it all in there. So I walked out and I was like, you know what? I did the best that I can. And here you are. You guys got all of me. And here we are. So like, whatever happens next, you guys saw every part of me that I could leave there for you and prove myself, and even went beyond what I thought I could do. Like, I even shocked myself afterward. I was like, wait a minute, maybe I am a little bit athletic. Wait a minute, maybe I can do this.
And what was the end result of the tryout? Like, what did they say to you afterwards?
Well, you do get an email basically saying, not at this time. And I use that as fuel. Okay, not at this time. Okay, so that gives me more time to get myself even better shape, get my mind in better shape, and work hard to show you that I'm staying on your radar. I was on it once. Now I'm going to show you why I'm a bigger force.
Yeah. And I feel like, lucky. Sorry, no, go.
I said I was lucky enough to be at the same tryout as their first African American female referee, Aja. So like for me, I got to watch my best friend it get signed. Like for me, that was like cool. And we were team diversity because, as you all know, like I'm Latina, and I was there with my bestie. So we were like, okay, I got one check mark, you got the other. We're both, here to promote to be here for the diverse females of the world.
Yeah. And, like, even though they said that not at this time for you, but you said that kept, fuel for your fire. Is that the ultimate goal, is to get signed?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And it doesn't, and I say this, but my ultimate goal, yes, would it be NXT? 100%. A big goal of mine, and I'm not afraid to be loud and proud about it, is for a major wrestling company, I want to be their first ever Latin female referee. And even if that's not with WWE and NXT, doesn't mean I can't be a player for another company. I always say the term that if one company doesn't think that you are MVP and they sit you on the bench, doesn't mean you can't go out there and shoot home runs for another company. So
100%. Yeah, and you've seen it with performers from years past.
mm-hmm.
They've gone from TNA, where WWE was like, we ain't touching anyone from TNA, and you look fast forward to 2021, and they've got pretty much majority of the roster from TNA from back in 2010 to 2013.
Even in recent news going on with Ring of Honor revamping their women's division, and now NWA doing the same with Mickie James. The possibilities for collabs and between companies now with our females is amazing. And that's what I think of it as. It's like, then you have the AEW and Impact things going on. So like you said, cross-pollination as far as wrestling has not been any higher than what it is right now. And it's great to see, because this way you could see different talents versus different talents, and different styles versus different styles, because who doesn't want to see that?
Oh, 100%. And a lot of dream matches, for the fans as well. Like they were saying, what would it be if, like, I don't know, Will Ospreay got to wrestle, Kenny Omega or Cody, you know what I mean? Like, and now that, these companies are sort of having these working relationships, that you're seeing it. And you mentioned NWA with, the upcoming all women pay-per-view as well. It just looks like, the professional wrestling world is evolving, from what it once was. And maybe the speaking out movement sort of had that input as well, but I think that it was already starting to become progressive. It was already starting to become, more of a safer haven for people. Would you agree? Or what, what's your thought?
Oh, 100%. Because during the speaking out movement, a lot of women got to tell their truth and got to say things that have happened to them. And it's not only the ones that said it, but there's a lot of women out there who really don't come forward with those things and don't say anything because of fear of retaliation or being looked at a different way. So it's nice to have now that not slowly, but like we're getting to a point where male, female, trans, whatever you are, that you feel safe in this industry, because it should be safe. We're a family. That's why they call it, like, there's a book out there called The Sisterhood of Professional Wrestling. And that's what it should be. It should be a family, whether, like I said, whether you're male or female, trans, whatever you are, that we're a family. We give our bodies to each other on a nightly basis to protect, to work with, and all of that. It should be a family. We should be taking care of each other. It should be a safe place. I should be able to feel safe in a locker room with only men without having to fear anything. The same thing for a guy in a locker room full of women, or it being half and half, or whatever the case may be. I'm a big, firm believer in that it should be equal and nobody should have fear, and it should be a fun working environment.
Oh, 100%. And, that's what I think the speaking out movement, the after the fact of it has been, where it's cleared up so many, gotten rid of a lot of fucking shit that's been in the business for years, that, and even like I spoke to someone once, they're saying, well, why didn't they speak up earlier? And it's like, when you're a victim, it's not always as easy as just going, oh, well, I should have spoken like earlier. It comes into a lot of time in those situations that the aggressor, or the bully, we'll call them, has some sort of power over that person, or they feel like they're under power by that person, that if they are to do something, that they're going to be, further hurt, or there's going to be further punishment that's going to come from speaking out. And a lot of people just didn't understand that.
I agree 100%. Plus, it's also and I say this as somebody who's been through similar things, but not with wrestling.
Mhm.
For me, I was scared people were going to look at me different. I was scared people were going to be like, oh, poor her, she's a victim, and never have anything else to say about me. And I think a lot of that is for some of the women in this industry is we don't want to come forward, or we do, but you don't want that to be the only thing somebody knows about you. Oh, that's so-and-so. They're noticed because this person did this to them. No, I want to go out there and for you to judge me based on my talent, not what I've been through.
Yeah, 100%. And like I said, it comes down to an individual when they're ready to talk about it, if they're ready to talk about it, and how it's going to happen. Like, as you said, the world of wrestling, you're getting in there, you guys are traveling, up and down roads with each other. You're putting your bodies on the line, and it's, the whole concept of professional wrestling is working with people and taking care of the person you're in the ring with, whether you're, referee, wrestler, manager, valet, interviewer, or commentator. It's everyone contributes in their own way, and everyone needs to be able to do their job in a safe environment.
100% agree. And I feel like now it's becoming that. And this, like you said, the speaking out movement really did help with that. But these things honestly should have happened a lot sooner, because you would have had maybe less of women, not being as confident or shying away from certain things because they feel judged. And I'm proud that we live in such an era now where you can feel safe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to Foxy's point on here too, it's like I said, I didn't want to be perceived different. Yeah. I'm me, like not what anybody. I own the victor, not the victim mentality, where I want you to know I'm good because I'm good, not because, oh, I feel bad for her because she's been through this, let me book her. No. Mm-mm. But
you
like
you
said,
booking.
we're in a generation of it. We're in a generation where women are feeling safer and owning who they are and their talent without fear. And that's like, no other word, but like heartwarming to see, because this is what it should be.
Yeah. And you're seeing intergender wrestling now where men and women are working together, and the women are, in a lot of these matches, are looking like a serious threat in the match against the male counterpart. And it's believable. They're making it, believable, where a lot of it, I think, years prior with intergender wrestling, it's always been like, really? But, now, but with the way that I think wrestling perceives their female performers, they're now perceiving them as athletes, not as a sideshow. Whereas, like, I think they sort of gimmicked that for a while there.
Oh, 100%. It goes from, oh, the woman's going to go step to the dude and he's just going to squash her and leave her there like she's dead. Instead of now it's, okay, so she may have a chance. And when done right, it can be an amazing thing. It can be an amazing thing, because if you have, and not to go back, all dramas and nonsense aside, but when you had in Impact, TNA, Tessa Blanchard and Sami Callihan, their feud was done so right. I loved every part of that, because you believed in it and it was real and it was raw and it was how it was supposed to be done. That this woman wanted to actually kill this dude, and the dude wanted to kill her right back. And they did matches that were actually, you believed it. It was real.
It looked like a violent fight every time they went in against each other. And I think that was a great point that you made, that these two were able to go in there and have an amazing performance. I think, very similar in height, build, obviously male and female differently, but they had the sort of similar presence, and that sort of works. And I think a lot of people go, oh, but women shouldn't be blah, blah, like it doesn't make sense. It's like, bro, Rey Mysterio has beaten guys that are 7 feet tall for championships, and you're telling me that a 6-foot woman can't beat a 6-foot dude? It's pro wrestling. Anything can happen.
I mean, I would love to see women from NXT, like, and the main roster, like, a Rhea Ripley or a Raquel Gonzalez go against some of these bigger dudes. Like, I feel like these matches could be really, really good if done correct. I get why they don't do it, but some of these women make some of the male talent look, you know what I mean? It could be they're bigger than some of the male talent that you have. Like Rey Mysterio, I've met him and we're in similar heights. He's a little bit taller than I am, I believe. Yeah. But like you said, against a 7 foot tall guy, if I went against a 7 foot tall female, you'd look at me like, you really think you got this, right? You're really thinking this right now. You're nuts. Like, no, not at all.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it can't go outside the realm of believability for me. Like, if I sit there and, you know, I see a lot of like in Australia, have a lot of intergender wrestling, whereas they're actually trying to get rid of that word intergender and just call it wrestling, which makes sense, because a good wrestling match, no matter who it's between, is a good wrestling match. Yeah, a bad wrestling match is still a bad wrestling match, and it doesn't matter who the people are in the ring.
I 100% agree. And it should be this performer or this wrestler versus this wrestler. It should be about your talent, not necessarily if you're male or female. And I feel like that we're heading in that direction, especially, like I said, with those two. They blurred the lines so well that you forgot that there was even a gender difference between the two. And that's when I think intergender is done correctly, is when you forget what gender each of them are at this point. Like, you're just watching it because it's, one, a good story, and two, an amazing battle.
Yeah, 100%. And can keep you in that realm of believability. You know, like I'm always a believer when I watch anything, whether it's wrestling or even a movie. If it's not believable, I lose interest, because it's like, I can't believe this is real. You know what I mean? Like, it's like watching a horror movie or something like that. It's like, this isn't real. Like, ghosts aren't real. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I can't watch that and go get into it, because it's like, no, that's bullshit. I smell. You know, and it can be the same in wrestling as well. You know, like there can be stuff where you just sit there and go, nah.
Yeah, not for me. Well, like you said, like the scary movie is like, okay, you know that the killer is behind that door. Are you really walking toward it? Let's just be honest. Why? You know better. Come on, believability. You would not in real life walk toward that door where you know he's standing with a machete in hand.
Yeah, standing there ready to start hacking. Exactly. But it's, you know, still, it is good to see that wrestling has become progressive, and wrestling has really sort of taken a stance to make a change, and to make that sort of those changes possible, and to give, you know, everyone an equal footing. But, you know, for you now, like, you know, refereeing, do you ever see yourself going back and being a wrestler in the business?
That's an answer I've thought about long and hard recently, because I got offered to do a wrestling match in Miami in July, and one-offs, yeah, if they come around. Is my heart into being a wrestler anymore? Not really. Like I said, when I found the stripes, it's like I found myself in this business and I found where I fit in. And I'm just loving it so much that no, I really don't want to go back to being a wrestler. If it happens later on, never say never. But for right now, I'm just loving the journey that I'm on. And just to put it out there, I've never felt so accepted by a group than I have the Zebra fam of professional wrestling. Like, it's just been so amazing, and the opportunities that I've been given. And yeah, so long story short, not for right now, but never say never.
And who do you like, you know, do you watch any particular referees and look for like what they're doing, and sort of, you know, not trying to emulate, but look at them and sort of, you know, look at what they're doing and learn from them?
Yes, I do a lot. And I stick to, do I watch the main roster of WWE, like Raw and SmackDown referees and NXT ones? Yes, because if that's where I want to work, I want to learn their style. I want to see what they're doing. But do I have my favorites outside of that? 100%. A big one for me is Mike Chioda. Chioda's a big one for me. In WWE, Charles Robinson.
No.
That's a big one for me. And Earl Hebner. I think those are my essentially Mount Rushmore ones for now. But Kyoto's a big one that I would like because I liked how animated he was. So for
Yeah.
me, that was cool. It's like you're a big personality, but you're a referee. I love it. So
You mentioned Charles Robinson. Every time I see Charles Robinson, I just think of WCW and him as Little Nate.
yes, yes.
Like I can't take him seriously as a ref. I just watch it and go, "It's Little Nate."
But see, he
Yeah.
found his niche. And I feel like for him, that's been a lot of help in his longevity, plus his talent. He is so good.
Mm.
Watching him live when I've done extra work has been mind blowing to me just because I love the way that he referees and officiates. Doesn't mean I don't love everybody else's. It's just for me, like I said, him and Kyoto are the two that I'm just like, okay, I'm mesmerized now. I'm just going to sit here and watch this. Okay.
So who do you go to for advice when you need to know something? Like, do you have like your, I don't know, fairy referee godmother or godfather out there?
I have a few people that I do go to. I actually go to my partner in crime, Mike Reed. I go to him sometimes for things, even though he's not a ref. But for as far as referees, I go to people like Aja. Like, hey, what do you think of this? Am I doing this right? Because we basically started at the same time.
Yeah.
I'm studying at, on the job training, and she's at Harvard. So I go to her. I've gone to Ref Aubrey in the past. She gives the best feedback ever because it's timestamps and it's in detail. And that's what I loved about it. But I do have my select few that I'm just like, hey, you've been doing this a lot longer than me. Can you help me? Like, hey, watch this or watch that. And another person too that I go to is Bravo from Impact, Johnny
Oh
Bravo.
yeah. Yeah.
He is like a referee, fairy godfather, has been such a huge support system. And I'm like I said, I'm surrounded by great support system and people around me. So sky's the limit, really. It's just I got to put
The
in the work
Zebra
and I got to
family.
go for it. And that's what it is. It's a family. Like there's even a community on Facebook called Zebra Talk where it's wrestling referees and we pick each other's brains or put matches up there to get feedback or use it as a networking tool between referees in the industry. And to me,
Awesome.
that's the family in wrestling that all of us referees need because there is a lot of us. So it's nice to have that.
And that's what that's amazing to hear. And it's like, you can pretty much go to this group and put something out there and get all this feedback out there and have this support system out there. I never knew something like that even existed.
Mm-hmm. And it's been nice because it's not even just referees from the United States, it's ones from different countries. And we
Wow.
all get on there and we can talk to each other. And that's how I've met a lot of via social media because, 2020 and COVID are a thing, whatever. But it's
Yeah.
been nice to have that networking and those connections and be able to like talk to other humans without leaving the comforts of your own home and learn about how they do it in other countries and how they would do a count different than I would. It's been nice. And I feel like that's the thing that's honestly been the most beneficial to me is
Mm.
having different eyes to kind of bounce ideas off of. Hey, if I don't do it this way, what about doing it this way? Or how would you do this, mixed tag match? Like, how would you do this? Like, so it's been nice. It's been nice to have that community and that support.
Oh, absolutely. I can imagine it would be. And having that is just, everyone gets to learn, everyone gets to grow, and everyone's going to have a different, bit of advice or a different perspective on what you can do. So you can pretty much like go through it and see which one works for you. I get it.
Yeah, it's been nice.
That's it. But it is that time of the show. We are going to play Guess the Australian Slang. I've warned or briefed Layne about it. Layne, have you ever been to Australia?
No, but it is on my bucket list because I just can't wait. Like that's one of my bucket list places. It's the UK, and it's Hawaii. Those are my three.
Would you say you ever heard much Australian slang before?
On and off, yes. On and off,
Okay.
yes. I'm probably going to do really bad at this, but you got my A for effort on this one. I gave it the old
Uh,
college try.
all right. So we'll start off with this one. Tar. Hey, tar for that. Tar.
Hmm. Say it again for me.
Tar. Oh, tar, mate.
Is that, and that can't be like hi or what's up? No. Mm-mm.
No.
Nope. You stumped me on that one.
It means thank you. Tar. Like tar.
Oh, so like the Spanish gracia is ta to you. Okay, cool.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's like just like instead of saying thanks, it's like tar, mate. You know. But all right, so we'll go to the next one. Sheila. That Sheila is dead set off her head. Sheila.
Is it like chick or female or woman or like a slang
Yeah.
version of chick?
Yeah, like not put this way, not many people I think under probably 50 would say Sheila anymore. Like it's very much an older Australian term. So, but yeah,
Okay.
it means woman. But
Woo-hoo, I
okay,
got that one right.
this one, bloke. Check out that
Dude.
bloke. Yeah. Yeah, a dude, a guy. All right, let's go this one. Bogan. My uncle Daryl is a real bogan.
Weirdo.
Close. A bogan is kind of like, to explain it, is like an Australian redneck. So someone who's uncultured,
Okay.
unsophisticated, uncouth, or unrefined is probably a thing. Like a bogan would probably sound like this. How you going, darling? We're going to go down to the pub, have a couple of schooners, and maybe we'll get a schnitto and maybe have a few slaps on the pokies and see how we go from there, darling.
So you were talking about shots, drinks, and food.
I was talking about
cigarettes.
drinks, gambling, and food. Yeah.
Oh,
having a slap means having a play of the pokey machine. So there you go. You've got a whole heap. Next is crikey. Crikey, look at that. Crikey.
Well, look at that. Or wow, look at that.
Yeah, it's like an exclamation of surprise. Like, oh, look at that. All right, so here's another one. Cake hole. Stick this in your cake hole.
Go stick this up your crack.
Wrap your cake hole around this.
Okay, now you lost me. The first one I thought I knew what it was. Second one I was just like, okay.
It means mouth.
Oh, I went
no, like saying, here, try this, eat this. Yeah, like that. That's basically
went the complete opposite bodily direction on that one. Okay, so
all right, here's another one. What are you? This one is arvo, or can also be used as Savo. What are you up to, the Savo?
This day or this afternoon?
Afternoon. You got that one right. There you go. All right. Next is lippy. Gee, she went a bit heavy on the lippy today.
Oh, lipstick.
Yep. There you go. All right.
I'm surprising myself with these answers. I'm like, wait a minute. I know what that is. Okay, cool.
All right. So we'll go a couple a few more. Jesus, check out the bouncy mouse. Bouncy mouse.
You shocked me on that one. That one I don't know. I think I know what it is, but I don't want to be wrong.
It's a kangaroo.
Okay, bouncy. Oh, that makes sense because they look like bouncy mouses. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, cool.
All right, so I've got a couple more for you. So this one is the gray nomads. The gray nomads are out and they're going slow.
Oh, the elderly.
Exactly.
Like old people.
Well, gray nomads are like elderly people driving a car. So, all right. So I got a few more. So, all right. So here's one. Do us a favor. Can you go past the bottle-o and pick me up a slab? What's a bottle-o and a slab?
Well, slab we said was poker, no? Like a game?
No. Slap is
slap.
Yeah, I said slab with a B. Go to the bottle-o and pick me up a slab.
Oh, no. I was thinking it had to do with like restaurants and food and pick me up a steak, but I'm probably wrong.
Go to the bottle-o, which is a bottle shop, and pick me up a slab, which is a case of beer.
Okay. I went food. This was drinks. Okay, cool. Got it.
All right. So we'll go two more. Jesus, check out those two on the dance floor. Having a bit of a pash, aren't they? Pash.
Either really grinding on top of each other, like look at those two go at it, or they're like something to that effect is what I'm getting from that statement.
Okay. Oh, all right. So, oh, hey mate, I saw you had a Pash on the dance floor the other night. Good on you. Does that
Makeout
help?
section.
Yeah, a Pash is more of like a really, like a makeout session, but one of those things which is like when other people are looking at you, you're just like, what the fuck is that? Like it's like full on. Like it's just more of like that drunken, like ridiculous one. But
I've seen those. I've been to clubs in Manhattan when I was younger, and there was plenty of those going on there. So I know exactly what you're saying when you say that, because me and my two younger sisters have like literally stopped each other mid-dance on a dance floor and been like, what in the actual F are these people doing? Like, go get a hotel room. Come on, go by.
Oh, 100%. I used to do security in nightclubs and would kick people out. I'd be like, guys, seriously, like just chill out. I'm going to get the hose in a minute. But all right, so we got two. So we got two more to go. So this one is this one's a bit of a saying. Hey, what's the John Dory?
Like, what's the deal with that or something?
What's the John Dory? What's going on? What's happening?
Okay. See, my New York slang would be like, yo, so what's the deal with that? So that's my version of what you just said.
All right. Yeah. All right. So we got, I'll do two more because I just had a couple of good ones come in.
Okay.
So, all right. This one is Budgie Smuggler. Oh, fuck. My dad's come over and he's at my swimming pool. Oh, and he's wearing his Budgie Smuggler.
Oh, like the what is those called? Like the women's bikini bottoms, but for a man, a Speedo.
Yeah, Speedo. Yeah, they call them that because once they get wet and you come out, it looks like, anyway, don't worry.
Yep. As soon as you said the statement, I was like, oh, he's talking about a Speedo. Got it.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the last one. Thongs. What are thongs?
Because I know they don't mean underwear in Australia. So
no.
Thongs could be like flip-flops, no? Maybe that's what to us is. Okay.
Exactly right. You've done really well. Like that's the Australian slang game. You've done really well. And a lot of people, sometimes find it hard. I try and really mix it up a little bit, but you've done really, really well at it. But look, thank you so much for being on the show tonight. It's been today for you. I really appreciate your time. I'd love to have you back again sometime. Anytime you want to come back on, there is an open invitation for you. But where can everyone find you and follow you on social media?
Well, on Twitter and on Instagram, I am Latina Ref Layne, Layne. And that's where I'm at on Instagram and Twitter, which is the ones I use the most often.
And have you got any shows coming up that people can come and check out? If they're in the area?
Yep. Tonight in Orlando, Florida, I am at Pro Wrestling 2.0. They are doing actually shows every Friday. So that, and then July 10th, I am going to be at two different places. I'm going to be at Knockout Pro Wrestling, and I am also, fingers crossed, going to be at WXW, which is owned and operated by Alpha the Wild Samoan.
Yeah.
So come check me out there and the amazing talent. He's another one I got to give a big thank you to for having faith in me, because I am their first ever official full-time female referee for WXW and the Wild Samoans company.
That is amazing. That's amazing. And I've heard a lot of good things about WXW. They seem like a great promotion. But everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. Layne, again, thank you so much for being a guest. Guys, make sure you check out Killing the Business with the Kingpin, Angel motherfucking Medina, at 10 a.m. Australian time, 8 p.m. USA Eastern. You're not going to want to miss it, guys. Him and his crew are going to be breaking down a lot of crazy shit. And also make sure to check out Knights of the Gimmick Table with the Dead Presidents, Boogaloo and Lowrider. Next week, make sure to check out Get Funked with Kwee Alan Funk, as he's going to be bringing on some amazing guests from his past WCW days. And guys, I've got some more amazing talent leading up for the rest of the month for June. I'm going to keep them a surprise. You're just going to have to stick by, check our social media, see who we got. But if you're watching this on YouTube, give us a subscribe, give us a thumbs up, leave us a comment, share the video with all your friends. even your enemies, they deserve to see a good wrestling interview every once in a while. So share it to everyone. And guys, thank you very much for tuning in. It's been an absolute pleasure. Until next time, peace.